Okay. Yep, that's going and it's recording. Yay. All right. So as you all have, we've got our environment, right? Some form of. Is it seriously disappearing again? Oh, the mouse disappears again when I go over. It's all right. It's fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's gonna make me cry all day today. Right. So we have some form of a friendly, safe side of our map. We have our fighting side. We've got a gun that we can come and grab. And we have a fishy or some version of a fishy that we can shoot. And it will, oof, well,
very close.
Respawn close and apparently, yeah, it's fine. Okay.
He doesn't need a texture.
Not at all. He's fine. All right. So what we want to do is play with something that's going to be kind of like a quest giver, right? Something that you can go to. They're going to give you a task to do. You complete the task, and then it's like, yay, you're amazing. And then technically it could give you something, but we're not going to get to that point, right? So we're going to start with, for this, I'm just going to do a collection quest. We're going to have Fishy end up dropping something. So we're going to randomly have something drop from Fishy. So what we're going to do to make this easiest to track in our content folder, we've got, I'm going to put into, I'm just going to make a new folder. We'll put it in the content. New folder. We'll call the new folder item drop. Just put everything in there that we'll be doing today. Inside our item drop, we're going to right click and we're going to blueprint class. And we just want a plain old actor. We don't need a character. This is just for the drop, right? So we're not going to take control of it. We're not going to assume it can be possessed by anything and run around the screen. It's just going to be an actor that we can drop in as needed. So we'll select actor. And then our normal naming convention, BP, I'll call it fishy drop. That drop is pretty darn fishy. And then we'll just double click to open it up. Yeah, save out of date packages. Inside of our fishy drop, we're going to add a component. We're going to add a static mesh. And then for the static mesh, we're going to come over to, in the details, the static mesh. And we're going to select shape underscore tri-pyramid. So triangle pyramid. That's huge. So we don't want it this big. We'll set the scale to 0.3 across, all the way across. And then, I don't know, plain color sucks. So let's go to the material, which is always, where are you? Mesh, static mesh. I'll just type in material.
Under rendering.
There we go. At a certain point, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to force it. No, there's another one. I don't think is this going to give us what we want. This is not the one we want. Where? Is it just a compile? Yeah, thank you. There it is. There's the material. It knew what I wanted and it wasn't giving it to me. That's fair. If you type in gold, we're just going to assign it the gold metal material to it. So it's nice and shiny. But that obviously won't be obvious enough in our environment. So let's go ahead and add a cascading particle system. So we can just do particle in our component, choose the cascade, and we will make this one the P sparks. That did not sound right. And then we will do a custom time dilation to 0.2. And then we want to move it up so that it's just up on top. So we can just, like a firework, sparkling everywhere. It's fabulous. All right. So the last thing that we want is to go ahead. We can select on the root. We want to add to this, though. We want a box collision. Right, we want to be able to collect it, so we need a way to run into it. And then once you have that, go ahead and drag it up so that it is at the bottom of our triangle, our pyramid drop. With that, we hit compile. We're going to, I'm just going to change this brief. Ooh, you're not working how I wanted you to work. That's fair. Good enough. And then under collision for the box collider, we want to select simulation generates hit, true. We're going to make sure that you just can't step up onto it. So can character step up on? No. And then for our events, we're going to go with the on component begin overlap. That's what we're going to use to check and see if the player is colliding with the component or with the pickup.
You said on component begin now.
Yep, on component begin overlap. Yes. No, we won't need any of the default ones. All right. So that gets us started with that. We're going to actually, at this point, go back to our main map, and we're going to open up our BP first person character. So first person folder, blueprints, BP first person character. This is where we have all of the different parts and pieces of controlling the character. All right, we're going to right click and add a custom event. Add custom event. We'll call it quest item pickup. Because we want to have a way to, like, right, we can have it collide and then, like, hey, it disappeared, yay, neat. But we want a way to keeping track of how many did you actually collect. We're not building a full inventory system. We just want to track how many you actually collected. So what we're going to do to that, make that happen, we're going to go to our variables. We're going to add a variable. We'll call it, we can just do quest items. Why not? A Boolean doesn't make sense. We'll do an integer. And then we'll poke it in the eye so that we can make it editable if we need to elsewhere. All right. So from here, we're going to drag into our scene the quest items. We'll get the get version of it. So we want to know how many quest items do you currently have? We'll drag off the quest items and we'll do a plus, which is integer increments. So that's going to add one to the current value. Programming, it's amazing. We'll attach this to our quest item pickup. So when something's picked up, we're going to call this. We'll find out how many do we have currently, add one to it, and then we will drag the quest items back in. We'll get the set version, and we will now set quest items to the new incremented value. Right? So if we had 0, we have 1. If we had 25, we have 26. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Does it put it? Ah, that's cool. No set. Interestingly, then it didn't. That's fair. Whatever. We're good.
Well, if you set it again, then it just pretty much do nothing.
It just does. It resets it to the same value. So it does not do any harm to leave it, but it's not necessary. We've got that. Attach increments. Fabulous. Okay. And then we're going to go to our viewport for the first person character. Got to see that armed camera. Select your BP first person character, self. In the details, we're going to search for tag. And then we're going to add an actor tag. Call it player. This way we can just make sure it's just the player that's running into the collectible, that nothing else is going to be able to collect it.
Is the reason you're not just casting on a player then?
We will cast, but we want to have it checked first before we cast that it's that. Okay, we can compile save here for the moment. We'll go back to the fishy drop. So now what we can do here from our on component begin overlap, we can drag from the other actor node and drag off actor has tag. And we'll type in the tag name as player. Right, so it's making sure that what that hits is actually the player. It's nothing else in the environment. And then from the return value, we'll drag off a branch. Connect that to our event or on component event. And now this is where we can go ahead and, if it's true that the tag is player, now we can actually cast to BP first person character. We're going to connect the, bless you, we're going to connect the other actor to the object of the cast. So that's sending it to there. And so what we're going to then do from the as BP first person character, we're going to drag off and do quest item pickup. So if the player begins to overlap with the pickup, it's going to make sure that's the player, and then it's going to cast to that and run the quest item pickup. And so we don't want it to one quest item drop, be able to pick it up 500 times. So we're just going to drag off of here and destroy actor. This actor's career is over. So we can compile save. So this means when we pick it up, our tracking of it shows that we picked up one and it destroys it, so we can't just pick it up again. Go ahead and compile save. And so what we can do real quick is, because we'll just do a quick test to make sure everything's working. So in the first person character event graph, what we can just do off of our increment is run a print string and connect our quest items to that. So now we compile, save, go back to our map, drag in our item drop. Let's see if I can put it in a better spot. That looks way too far away. That's fine. We'll put it up there. So now if we go in and play, it's so pretty. And then we pick it up and we get a 1. Yay!
Can I see that other part again? You said print string.
Yeah, so off of our increment in the quest item pickup event, just do print string and then drag over. All right, so we've shown we can pick stuff up. It disappears as we'd like. Discussions of print strings. All right, so we'll go back now to our, actually we can just remove this drop from the game at the moment. If we go back to the fishy drop, what we want to now do is make it so that fishy will randomly drop the drop item, right? We don't want it that every time fishy dies do we get the drop. We want to have some randomness to it. We don't want the quest over so quickly. So we'll go ahead and add a custom event. We'll call this one random drop. From this, we're going to get random floats. Oh, this is the one. This won't show up if you have context sensitive on, so we're going to click context sensitive off. We want random float in range. So this is going to give us a min and a max. We'll set the minimum to 1, the maximum to 100. I'd let you borrow mine, but you'd get a headache. From our return value, we're going to drag off a greater equal operator. And we'll set the B parameter to this. Let's say 75%. So 25% of the time we want this to make a drop, right? So randomly, when it makes a random number between 1 and 100, if it's 75 or more, it's going to make the item drop, right? So dial this into what you want your item drop to be, right? So super hard, long quest to get everything 90 or more, 95, right? This can definitely come into to play if you're dropping like loot and you want the different loot tables. So if it's, if you rolled 100 out of 100 or out of 10,000, whatever it is, then you get the super cool legendary fishy trophy. I don't know. That's beyond today. So we're going to drag off a branch from here, connect our branch to our events. Bring all these in a little bit. All right. And then from our true, so if fishy died we're going, whenever fishy dies, we're going to call random drop, which we'll get to. If it's less than 75, we just don't care. Nothing's going to happen, right? He just dies. Yay, we killed him. But if it's over the 75, then we're going to have the true. So drag off to this, and we're going to do spawn actor from class, which remember is going to pop up spawn actor none because we need to set the class. So we set the class to BP fishy drop. And because of how it's going to go, we want to, on our collision handling override, we want this to always spawn and ignore collisions. If there's a drop, make the drop. And then we're going to, since it's on, oh, did I do this in the wrong one? Hold on. We're in the wrong one. Let's copy this. My bad. Yep, we're in the wrong one. Right. So we can cut that, go actually into the fishy. Just got to remember which one that is. It's in the fab folder. So we want the BP fishy is what we were going to actually put this on. So we can control V and drop this here. Okay, now this is going to work better because now we can actually have this be get actor transform. So spawn transform, we're going to get actor transform. We want it to actually spawn where fishy died. Well, that makes so much more sense. Okay. And then what we'll do is we're going to modify our damaged event, right? So this is where we respawn fishy. We're going to put it after the respawn of fishy. We're just going to drag off random drop. So now before fishy dies, after fishy makes a new fishy. God, the conversations we have in class, they're fabulous. When fishy makes a new fishy, they're going to drop potential fishy drop. All right. So we'll compile, save. I'll just save the fishy drop. We'll go back actually while we're here at the fishy drop saving it. If we go back to the viewport, we want to go ahead and in our box, actually in pyramid, static mesh pyramid, we're going to go ahead and simulate physics to true, give it a mass, and make sure that gravity is enabled because we want it to fall to the ground. We don't want it just hovering in midair unless that's the look you're going for, right? File save. Now, when we start our game, we should be able to, after a few shots, there we go. Hey, look at that. We've got our drop. And then we can pick it up, and we got a 1 again. Two, three, and down the way, 4. Okay. That's fair. Did you do the adding the actor transform to the spawn transform? Yep. And then did you, on the damaged event, did you add the random drop between the two? There you go. Okay, so now we've got, hey, a drop. Cool. Now we need a quest giver to give us the quest to go kill fishy. and collect a few drops. So we're going to come back to our first person map. We'll go ahead.
Jesus is not on my side.
You can always increase your potential RNG. We're going to go ahead and make one more folder. We're going to, under content, and we'll call it NPC. Right, we need an NPC that's going to do this. So, and then in this folder, we'll right click. We're going to go to blueprint class character. Blueprint class, hold on. NPC blueprint class character. And then we're going to do BP NPC. And we'll double click to open that guy up. We'll go ahead and let's go creepy. So in our mesh that's already here, we're going to come over to the mesh and select the mannequin arms. Right, we're nothing but mannequin arms. The NPC has got to match us. They're in mannequin arms too. Drag them down so they kind of make a little bit more sense where they're at. And then rotate the arms to face forward, because that's always good. All right, we can compile and save. And let's go ahead and play. Oh, no, not you. Oh, it's so rough when I cannot see what I'm supposed to be saying. Okay, here we are in the middle. We're going to go ahead and add our NPC up here to the top part. That's where our quest giver is going to live and reside because he's a happy set of arms. Not right. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to add basically like a dialogue system to this, right? We want to have the player come up, be able to talk to the NPC do three different things, one of three different things. They're going to start, if you haven't talked to them yet, they're going to go ahead and, hey, how you doing? These fishy things are really bothering me. Go kill a bunch, right? Go collect a bunch of the cores from the thing. Once it's giving you the quest, then it's going to check and see if you've actually collected enough. And if you haven't, it's going to be like, hey, you should probably go complete what I told you to do. And then if you have completed enough, then it's going to give you the, yeah, you did it. Here's your reward. And they're a jerk. They're going to stiff the guy. They're stiffy. It's fine. No tipping for this person. So we're going to do this through an interface system. So in our NPC folder, we're going to right click. We'll scroll in this bottom section. We're going to hover over blueprint. And then we want a blueprint interface. So we'll select that. And BPI underscore dialog. There's nothing much that we're going to be doing with this other than kind of using it for the system. So we'll double click on it. And all we're going to be doing is, instead of new function, we want to rename new function to talk. That's what we're doing. We're going to talk to the person through this interface system. So we can compile and save. And actually, we can close that. Nice and easy. All right. So let's go back to our first person character. And we're going to add in, for this, we're going to make it so the player has to choose to talk to the NPC. So we'll do that through a key. So we can start with a keyboard event. I'm going to make mine, I don't know, V sounds way too far to go. Let's do G. G sounds great. So we've got now our keyboard event attached to it. On the pressed executable, we're going to drag off, and then we're going to do a for each loop. Because what we want to see is how many NPCs are actually in the area. So we're going to then, from the array on the for each loop, we're going to get overlapping actors. Right? What is overlapping with this NPC? We're going to compile this for a moment. Right? So we've set this up for overlapping actors, but we haven't set up on our NPC the overlap. So if we go back to our BP NPC, in our components, we're going to add a sphere collider, sphere collision. We'll call it trigger zone. Why not? It could be dialogue trigger zone if you want. But you have to capitalize all of dialogue if you want. And then raise this up to be kind of in the center. And then we're going to make the sphere radius 200. Right? So you have to get close, but not crazy close. And then in our collisions of this, we'll scroll down to collisions. We want to make sure that it is overlap all dynamic, which it should be, but just make sure it is.
Oh, we don't want to make it trigger.
No, it's tracking the overlaps in our other one. So from this, we can compile save. We're just calling it trigger zone, but we don't need to do any trigger with it. So if we go back to our first person character, right, here's in our for each loop, we're checking to see what other actors we're already overlapping with. So it's just a quick, easy built-in for that. We're going to set the class filter on the overlap to our BP NPC, right? So that's what we want to know if we're overlapping with an NPC to track that. Back in our for each loop off of our array element, we want does object implement interface. And we're going to set our interface to what we just set up, which is our BPI dialog. And now we can branch this, bring a branch off of the interface. And we can connect this through to our loop. Yeah, BPI interface attached to the interface. So from array element, drag off does object implement interface. And then we're setting the interface there for the BPI dialog. So saying, if it has it, this is what you're implementing. And then a branch. We'll compile and save. We've got lots of back and forth with this as we're just trying to make sure everything flows and grows the right way. So we can go back to our NPC. In our NPC now, we're going to actually click on class settings, which is up here above the event graph. And then we want to, where are we at? Implemented interface.
Very bottom of the interface at the bottom of details channel.
Is it there? There it is. Thank you, sir. So then in details, bottom, implement interfaces. We can open it so that we see something. We'll hit add. And this is where we're going to add our BPI. Oh my God, type right. BPI dialog. All right, so we've set it up. We were checking to make sure that the NPC has an interface, right? Now we've given it an interface. It's amazing. So now we can go back to our first person character. From our array element on the loop, for each loop, we're going to drag off talk message, which is underneath BPI dialog. And we're going to attach that to our true. So if there's an interface, then implement it. And we're implementing talk. Okay. Like you said, So BP NPC class settings, details. At the bottom is the implemented interfaces. Hit the add. Yep. All right. Where were we? Okay. So we're going to get set up to do our quests and our dialogues for that. But we want to add one more variable to our first person character. So we'll add that. We want to track if the quest has been given. So quest given, which we'll have as a Boolean. We'll open the eye just in case we want to at some point do any modifying with it. And make sure that it is unchecked. So if you compile save, just make sure that the default value is false, right? We don't want to start the player that they've already been given the quest before they've talked to the quest giver. Our player is not omnipotent. Omnipresent? No, omniscient. Whatever. Yeah, that one. All right. So let's go back to our BP NPC, to its event graph. We don't need any of these here, so we'll delete those. And then let's see, what blueprint user interfaces. So then in our component side in the My Blueprint, we've got the talk here. So we're going to right click the talk and we're going to implement this event. So that gives us the event talk that we've already kind of said, hey, look for this. That's where the cool stuff's going to happen. We're going to create 3 variables. they are going to be dialogue 1. Dialogue 1. It's not going to be a Boolean. Amazingly, it's going to be a string. And then we're actually also going to want to make it an array. Rather than a single, we're going to do an array with those. Yep, yeah. So each line of the dialogue is going to have its own value. We'll add another one. We'll call it dialogue 2. And then dialogue 3. And then we're going to add a variable. It's not going to be a string this time, but we'll just leave it there. We'll fix it in a second. We'll call talk index. Right, so tracking where we are in the conversation. So talk index is going to be an integer, but we want it to not be an array. We want it to be single. It does not get in a relationship. And then we'll add one last variable. We're going to call it our complete talk index. And we'll use this one for tracking it when it's the final conversation that's going to happen. I did, and I changed them to a single integer. I gave them a divorce from their array. They are now single. I am. I just couldn't help it. I needed to. It's been one of those days. All right, so if we compile and save, if we select our dialog 1, you'll see that we have default values in the details. So it's got dialog 1, currently 0 array elements. We're going to add 3 array elements. So we can click on this 3 times. Index 0 can be something like welcome, weary traveler. Array 2, I don't know. The fishies have a powerful core. Bring the third or index 2, bring me 5 cores and I will give you a reward. And I'm lying. Then we select dialog 2. Dialog 2 is going to happen when the player goes back and only has 4 cores, and our quest giver is going to be like, look, bitch. Like, no, we're not playing this game anymore. I should have it where, like, if you do that, he takes one just for wasting his time. That'd be a fun ad. Right? But we'll just add 2 dialogue events in this one. So index 0 will be something like, you have not yet gathered enough fishy cores. Fishy cores. Index 1, return when you have actually, we'll capitalize it, collected all 5. Stop wasting my time. All right, so that gives us our first 2. Dialogue 3 is going to be, you've actually completed the quest. We actually have goal 5. We've done our job. So we'll do this as 3 array elements. Welcome back again, weary traveler. Say something about the player being injured or something, and they're not going to do anything about it. Index 1, I see you have gathered the 5 cores as I requested. And the final one, here is your reward. dot 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 ha 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 ha. Cheap bastard. All right, so that's going to allow us to have an array of dialogue that we can go through, right? This could be anything. We're just using this for reference. Dialogue 1.
No, for 3.
For 3. Welcome back again, weary traveler. All right. So we're going to, from this, drag off cast to BP first person character. We'll set the object to player character. Get player character. And then as BP first person character, we're going to get quest given. So we want the quest given, we want the get. Right, so we want to know when we start the dialogue, has the player actually been given a quest yet, right? We're only going to start that dialogue once.
Does that say get character
Uh,
there? Okay.
It's get quest given.
I mean, behind.
That'd be,
Okay, get
yeah, get player character. Sorry. And so we will drag off quest given and make it a branch. We'll attach this to our cast. And we're going to drag off, where are we at? We're going to get dialogue 1. So we'll get a reference to dialogue 1, and we'll get a reference to the talk index. So the talk index is going to track which one of the dialogue arrays we're going to move on to. So this will obviously increment as we go. And the dialogue will set all the different options we have. And from dialogue 1, the array, we're going to get a copy, not a reference, a copy. We'll attach our talk index to that. For the moment, we're going to, from the get, add a print string. We're going to make this look prettier once we get it working, but for right now, we just want to be able to see it go through our dialogue. And so we can attach this. This is a get. And so you're going to drag off dialogue 1, type get, and you want a copy version. This top one. Yep. Then attach your talk index. And then from get, do the print string. We're going to attach this to the false, right? This is going to go through before the quest has actually been assigned, right? No quest has been given yet. Get the quest. Makes sense-ish. So we got the print string. From our print string, we're going to drag off our plus plus. We're going to do our increments, the integer version.
Don't we want to check if our talk index is greater than the length of the thread first?
We will get there. But yes. Um, we're going to attach this to our talk index, our increments. We're going to drag off a branch again. Yes. Make sure I am. Yes, we are. Perfect. Making sure I'm in the right spots. Working through this gets a while. So from our condition on our branch, we're going to drag off a less. We just want less. We don't want less than equal. We just want less. We're going to add our talk index. So we can get another reference to that if we want, or drag from over. We'll attach that to our A. And then B, we're going to drag off. Actually, we'll do this first. We'll just get a reference again to dialog 1 and drag off length. So this is where, yes, we are going to check and make sure we don't go too far. From our false on this branch, we are going to, once again, we're going to cast to BP first person character. Once again, our object is going to be player character, the get player character. And from the as BP first character, we're going to set quest given. So set quest given to true. So we'll check it and attach that to our cast. So if we go in, we start talking to them, we're going to first check and see, have you been given the quest yet? If you have not yet been given the quest, we're going to start it, and we're going to then increment and say, cool, now you've started the quests. You're not going to get this dialogue again. Set quest given. Yeah, I drag it straight into the plus plus. Yep. It is over here. I grabbed it from over there. No, you're good. Yeah. Just double click the line. Yep. Yep. All right. That gives us that. True. And then we want to, right, so this is going to go all the way through the conversation, and then at the very end of it, when we set quest to true, we want to drag off, let's see, talk index, we want the set, and we're going to set it back to 0. So this is getting us ready then for our next dialogue. All right, we'll compile and save. From our, make sure I've got all of this going right. I included pictures this time for me. Finally thinking. Okay, from our very first branch, right? So if quest has been given, right, we've talked to them for the first time. We are from true going to, once again, cat. I'm sure we don't have to do this over and over again, but we're doing it over and over again. Cast 2, BP, first person character.
Can't you just pass it as a variable?
Yeah, we could. But I mean, if we can't spaghetti code, I mean, what's the fun? Why are we using it as Unreal? Um, we're going to, once again, our object needs to be the get for player character. Should just know that that's what I want. So from our as BP first person character, we're going to get, we want to get our quest items. So we want to get our quest items, right? We want to check first, do you have all 5, right? Like, are you going to be wasting the quest giver's time? And they'll just get angry and maybe kill you with his fist. I don't know. Not in this one. No way in hell. We're going to add a branch from the cast. From our condition, we're going to drag off a greater equal. Right, so we want to, we're going to convert our pins. So if you hover over our pins, we're going to convert them to integers. So we'll click convert to integers. So we'll connect our quest items in the first one, and in B, we will set it to 5, right? So we want to check and see, do you have 5 or more of the quest items? From the false on here, we're going to go ahead. Actually, we'll do this first. We'll first drag in a reference to dialog 2. So get dialog 2. We'll also drag in our talk index again. So we'll get that, which we've reset to 0 at this point in time. From dialog 2, like we did before, we're gonna get a copy. We'll attach our talk index like we did before as well. We'll drag off a print string, which once again will get replaced in a little bit. And we're going to attach this to the false, right? No, you don't have 5 or more. You're a bastard. Stop wasting my time. And so then what we can do is copy our, got it there. We want 3, where again? We're going to take and copy everything after the previous print string. So we'll just copy and paste it up here. But we want to make sure that we switch out our dialog 1 here for dialog 2. So we can get that and connect. That takes us through so that if we are there, and then we can actually take off our, hold on. So what happens when you copy, like, hey, copy this. What the fuck did I copy again? Copy previous branch through branch. We're going to, actually, we can go ahead and delete the after this part of the branch. So we have our print string, we've got our branch, we switched it to dialog 2 like we needed to do. And then in our false, this is where we're going to actually, we could have kept it. Talk index set it back to 0. So if we make it through that dialog, we still don't have it. We go with 3 quest items. No, you don't have enough. Then it's going to reset it back to 0 again, so that if we come back with 4, because we like wasting people's time, then it's going to yell at you even more, right? Or just yell at you again. But finally, we're going to eventually have 5 or more. I mean, hopefully. That is the goal. So then from our true, we're going to, now we're going to drag in our dialog 3 get, our complete talk index version get. As we've done before, we're going to do a get, a copy, connect our talk index, and we'll do a print string because we love print strings. And we'll attach this now to our true. Give it a little space because we're going to need that at some point. We're going to bring in from the plus plus, we'll do an increment. Nope, no. An increment integer. And just attach this to our complete talk index. Right, so as we go through that final dialog, we're just going to get through the ones, and then we're done. All right. So this is great and all, right? So compile, save. Oops, where's my problem? We need to connect our talk index here to our increment. That's always helpful. Okay, so this is great. Now we have a quest that we can go through. The problem is that we had the cores dropping no matter what, right? We don't want those to drop unless you actually have the quest. So we're going to make a quick change to that. So if we go to our BP Fishy, where we have our random drop in our damaged event, right? So we've got a random drop here. We're going to make a little bit of space. We're going to, instead, we're going to drag off and we're going to cast to BP first person character. We'll set, like we always do, object to get player character. We're going to go ahead and drag off a branch. So if it's true, we'll add this in a second. So on the branch, we'll leave the random drop attached to true. So in our condition, for as BP first person character, we're going to go ahead and get quest given and connect that through to our branch. So when we kill a fishy, It's going to spawn a new fishy, and then it's going to look and see if the player has been given the quest. If you've been given the quest, then we should go ahead and drop. So it's true. If that's true, we do our random drop and destroy the actor. If it's not true, if it's false, we just go to destroy actor, right? It's just going to destroy the fishy that was there. So we can compile and save that. And then one last thing, if we go back to the NPC, we want, we're fine at the moment. It's not going to be an issue. We'll fix it later. Currently it's not turning off the quest item drop. We'll fix that in a bit. All right.
Is it because you're not removing the quest at the end of the dialogue screen?
Right. Yeah. So I just want to make sure that we hit that right index number to get there, which we'll do in a minute. Okay. So should, at this point, if we play it, we should be able to come up, see our floating arms, which is not creepy at all, and then hit, what did I say, G. Great, welcome, weary traveler. G again, the fishies have a powerful core. Bring me 5 cores and I'll give you a reward. Okay. I did it. You have not. Go get more. And so now if we go over to our fishies and just murder them. Two. 4 and 5. Out of my way. Oh, I missed it. We come back. Hey, welcome back, weary traveler. I see you've gained the 5 cores as requested. Here's your reward. Ha 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 ha. And then we can keep hitting G, but nothing shows up because it's over at that point, right? We've completed the quest. Once again, at this point, it's still going to keep dropping the cores, which we'll fix after break. Any questions at this point? Awesome. Go ahead and let's take, yeah.
Can you just show the graph? Like, because you deleted some stuff, and I'm not sure what you deleted exactly. Maybe we just pull it up.
Which graph?
The first person, no. Yeah, first person, I guess. No, it's drop. It's the drop one.
The drop one? Or the quest? That's okay. You're good. Okay, let's take about a 10-minute break. 4:45. Be back. And we will make it look pretty. Because it's all about looking pretty.
So for the third-person game,
Yeah.
just because a lot of the videos were kind of broken.
What?
I even left a comment on one of your videos.
Yeah, they just,
but-
welcome alive.
So
Unpause the recording. I'll post the notes for this for anyone. But all we did, just to go over it real quick for those who are watching, you're going to, your first person map, you're going to create a new user interface widget blueprint. Name it widget blueprint dialog, W dialog. We're going to add a canvas panel, a background blur, and text block. Background blur we'll set to 10. Text block needs to be changed to talk text and is variable. Feel free to move them as you wish. There. Now we're caught up. Back to the BP NPC. Once again, we're going to right click, add, create widget. We'll set the class to our WB dialog. And we're going to set the owning player to get player controller. Right, so it's a player that's going to actually see this widget. From our return value, we're going to right click to promote this to a variable. And we'll just rename this to UI. This is our user interface for our dialog. And then we're going to drag offset. And we're going to add to viewports. Right, we want to actually add it to the screen. And we'll connect this to our targets. All right. And we want to, where is that one? Where? We're going to get a. I didn't take a big enough picture. It's fine. We'll figure it out. We're going to get a reference to the UI, so we can drag that on. Get it. And we're going to actually right-click this and switch it to, convert it to the validated get. Right, so what this validated get is going to do is let us know whether or not a widget has actually been created or not, right? We don't want to keep adding widgets, the same widget to the viewport over and over again if it's already there, right? That doesn't make any sense. So we're going to connect our is not valid to the create section that we had just done, right? So if that widget is not already in place, then we want to do it. If it is, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to, from is valid, we're going to set text. Hold on. Let's try it from the side.
Oh yeah, the set text that only works if you have a text render component.
Where are we at here? Drag off set text. Drag off get talk text. Into false. That's fine. Hold on. Owning player. That's right. That's right. That's correct. That's correct. This now. Set text talk. Set text. That's what we want. Okay, so if you drag off the add viewport, just delete this. Turn off your context sensitive. Set text. We want the text version. So set text. We're going to also attach that to our is valid, right? So if the viewport is up and active, Now we just want to set the text versus first turning on the widget. We are going to get one more reference to our UI. So get UI. Oh, this is probably where we've probably done it. Talk. So if we start typing in talk text, we want to get talk text. Move over here. And we're going to attach that to our target. And then we're going, huh? It won't connect for you. Which one?
Yeah, I'm trying to fix the talk text and then
To the set text
yeah,
text.
and it won't let.
All right. And perfect. So this is what we're going to be using to replace our print strings with. So we're going to.
Could you turn it into a function and then just replace it?
Yeah, we could.
That's
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
did.
Yeah, you could easily do that.
That's what I started doing because I'm like, that seems like the wrong thing.
It's more fun to spaghetti code it, but same thing, right? We've got that. So yeah, why not? Let's do that. I'll just copy this.
You can
Uh,
make it a custom event.
We could do that too.
That's just what I did. Yeah. Oh wait, yeah, that's what I did too.
Do a custom event.
I don't know the difference. Heads up, there's literally zero difference between function and custom event. It's just where it is in the editor.
Yeah.
Functions are more organizable, but
Uh,
custom events are usually for like, oh, I need this quick this with this event graph right here. Whereas a function, it's like, oh, this is going to be like a global thing that a lot of things can use.
it's fair. So we can now add this here. Actually, we want to. In text is going to get.
I added
Sure.
another input onto the custom event, and then I just made it a string input, so I could just pass the dialogue into the custom event.
Yeah, because we'll just break. I'm just gonna keep it with this. You can feel free to make it prettier. We're going to copy this, and we're gonna move them to our 3 prints. There's one. Gotta find them all. Just because we want to make sure that this is going to get connected through to our text. Delete that.
It's working exactly how I want.
It is.
So that's going to connect there. This one's going to connect. We want our gets to connect correctly through. Oh. This would probably work nicer as a function, but we're just doing it this way. So we want, you just want to make sure that you're connecting through your dialogues correctly. Oops, that's the one. Okay. Sure. That one. Okay, so now if we compile and save, we should now be able to go into the game and there we've got a nice blur. It's not repeating it. All right, that's cool. But now that's just there. This is probably not what we want. It's a great reminder, I guess, but not exactly what we want. So since it's not going away, we want to make it actually go away. So if we go to our WB dialog and we go to our graph, we want to just create a new custom event. We'll just call it close dialog. And we can drag off of that, remove from parents. You do have in the main section, we can remove everything. We can remove all widgets, which in this case would be fine because that's the only widget we have. But say we had a player health bar and your mini map and your other widgets, it would remove everything, which that obviously we don't want. So if we do it this way on our WB dialog, close dialog, remove from parent, we'll compile save. And then back in our NPC, what we'll just do is after we do all of our sets, where we set our talk indexes to 0, we can drag off a delay. We'll set it to 2 seconds. Then we can do on complete, cast to WB dialog. The object, we can get a reference to our UI. That'll be our object. And then as dialog, close dialog. And then we can copy this and attach this just once up here to that set. And then we can also add it to the very end.
Won't it leave the dialogue up if we only go through the first two?
Nope.
Photos down.
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't walk away in time. You could set it to where just after any period of time, no matter where it is.
That's what I was trying to do, but I wasn't sure if when you when you click your dialogue key again, if it'll just restart the loop or if it'll still close it while the other one is in the process of running.
Let's try.
This is a weird problem. We set it up to the standard loop dialog box when you leave the aligner of the friendly.
Yeah, you could set it up so that lots of different ways for that. Yeah, because now this is just going to, we have to make it through the dialogue. You have to be there.
Because when I'm doing it that way, it just randomly deletes the way that you just set it up, it just randomly deletes my dialogue, and then I can't reset that. So I don't think it's ever setting the UI value empty, and so it'll always go down the is valid line when it deletes it.
That's just going to take playing with just to dial it
I'll do
in.
it that way. I add the triggers,
Yeah.
something like that.
So while this is still rough, right? Now it really becomes how do you want it to look for how your game's going to be, right? Do you want it to, the moment you walk away from the quest trigger, it turns off the dialogue, right? Do you want it that certain amount of time, no matter what, it turns off? Lots of different ways that you can end up playing with this. And this just once again comes down to personal preference. This is how I want my game to
The render just text goes with that part.
Yeah, right. At a certain point, you can decide to add in some form of like a menu system where you have to click to accept the quest. This is then starting to add parts that we've covered in the first half of building in the menu, bringing your cursor back in, having a button to click, choices to be made. Maybe you can bargain with the quest giver to give you something cooler in exchange for it. But that's that. All right, questions on this at this point? All right, I'll get the video posted. I'll post my notes up too, so that for those of you that would do a little bit better, you don't have to decipher my own notes, but I'll make the document available. But that won't be until I get home. At this point, where are we at? We've got a little bit of time.